Alright, I wasn't sure that I was going to do a part 2 of this at all, but it seemed like there was a pretty good response on the first one, so I'll go ahead and do part 2 with some stories of the ICU. Yeah, I told you all about the wreck and everything. I know when I got in ICU, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were real blurrish. I didn't remember a lot. I know Mike Zimmerman came and brought me some stuff. Came to see me. I didn't even remember him being there. Sorry, dude. I know Rose and my mom were there a lot, taking care of me, helping me out with everything, moving the bed up and down, grabbing a cup of water when I wanted it. When I was finally got the tube out of my throat though, and I was starting to breathe on my own and everything, I was having to take cough medicine like 3 to 4 times a day. And that is the nastiest stuff ever. I mean, it was like straight up Robitussin. And I remember sitting there and I asked the nurse, I was like, hey man, out of all these tubes and wires and crap hanging out of me, I have to drink this cough syrup, seriously? Isn't there like a direct line in my stomach that you can shoot this into? And he kind of laughed and was like, yeah, actually there's a spot in your feeding tube that we could shoot the Robitussin down and you wouldn't even have to drink it. I was like, how about we go that route? So he shoots it down through my nose into my stomach, and he says, alright, I gotta shoot a little water through the line to clean the line out. I was like, alright. Feels totally weird when they do that. After he shot the water down the line though, I was like, hey, what happens if you suck up some of that Mountain Dew and shoot it down through there? He was like, are you serious? It's like, yeah man, let's try that out. So I got him to suck up some Mountain Dew in the syringe and shot it in through my nose. And that was like one of the coolest feelings ever, having Mountain Dew hit directly in your stomach. It makes you burp immediately, which was bad because broken ribs and burping don't mix. But it was one of the coolest things, and that was kind of our little thing after that. When that guy would give me cough syrup, he would shoot me some Mountain Dew down the line after that, and then some water to clear the line out. And it turned out that the Mountain Dew was actually good for the line because it got it cleaner than the water. Imagine that. They just needed to shoot water to get the sticky out. So that was dude said that was the first time he had ever done that in his career. I was glad I was able to talk him into that, and it made life easier on me while I had the feeding tube in, at least. I still had to swallow pills, but I didn't have to drink Robitussin. It tastes like crap. There was another time they were changing bandages or something around the tubes, and I asked the nurse if she would take a picture of the tube for me, and she was like, yeah, I can do that, but I'll have to get a waiver for you to sign saying that it's okay that I did that. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever it takes. So she takes the picture, she comes back with a waiver, and I crudely sign it the best I can. And I asked her, I said, how many times have people asked you to do stuff like that? And she was like, you're the first. So I was the first person to get somebody to shoot Mountain Dew down my nose, into my stomach, and I was the first person to ask for pretty sick pictures to be taken also, which one of them did make it to Facebook. A lot of people didn't like. It looks like a mouth on the side of my face, on the side of my chest. It's kind of gross. You can refer back to my mobile uploads if you want to see that. I remember everybody in ICU though, every time I'd go through like 4 or 5 nurses a day because it's USA and a lot of students, and I just remember like all the nurses would brag when they would change up and they would tell, you know, this is so and so. They would tell them, you know, this is Ray. He's in a motorcycle accident, this and that and other. And they would all brag on me, saying how great of a patient I was and stuff like that. And that was always kind of cool. And when the nurses would come back on shift, you know, later on, if they didn't have my room, they would always stop in and say hello and check on me, see how I was doing and stuff. So the nurses really kept me in high spirits, and I teased them. Every single one of them, I teased them all day and all night. That was just like the only form of entertainment I had. So I teased them all. And there was a couple times that they brought me food after I got the tube out. And the first thing they bring me was like baked fish. The smell alone was horrible. And I was like, man, get it out of the room, get it out of the room. Didn't feel like eating anyways. The second day they brought me beef tips and gravy that straight up smelled like vomit. Didn't eat that either. And at this point I was kind of like thinking I'm never going to eat food again. So, you know, and this Rose was bringing me Starbucks, some Burger King. I was eating a little bit here and there. But I just remember teasing the nurses a lot. And that was my main form of entertainment. And I watch TV, and I'm sure most of you that know me know that I do not watch TV a lot, like TV shows or whatever. I'm into movies, but not TV shows. And I think I've seen every episode of Gator Boys, Pawn Stars, American Pickers, Auction Kings. I think I've seen every episode of all those shows now, with the 2 weeks I was in ICU. In fact, the only thing that I watched that was worth a damn was Edward Scissorhands. And I remember one of the nurses, like, she was sitting there for like about 15-20 minutes watching it with me. and I was teasing her because I was like, you're not even old enough to know what this movie, remember this movie. She was like 21 years old. And that was another game I played with a lot of the nurses. It seemed like they were all 20 and 21, 22. And I would guess their ages, and then they would come back and try to guess my age. And a lot of them were very nice, and they were like, oh, you've got to be at least 26, 27, 28. And I was like, yeah, sure, okay, great. And then they look at my wristband and see I was born in 1976. And, yeah, I was almost old enough to be their dad. But it was fun. No, it wasn't fun at all. I know, they told me when they knocked me out to put the second tube in my right side. They gave me the normal amount of anesthesia to knock most people out for a little while. They told me to count to 5, and I counted to 10. And I finally fell asleep. And that's when they started messing with me a little bit. And they said I kept grabbing their hands and like pushing them off of me. So they had to hit me with the Michael Jackson drug. That's when I finally went to sleep. And by the way, I can definitely see why people get addicted to that stuff. That is like, that's just sleep. I mean, the deepest sleep that you can ever imagine. There's no dreaming. You don't remember. It's just sleep. But the PT guy, the physical therapist, Daryl, he told me that he was in the room while they were putting the tube in my chest. And at this time, they were also putting what they call a pain ball on for me. And the pain ball is like a little fanny pack. And it's got all this little crazy stuff in it. And a ball of pain medicine. Like in like a ball bag, a bag. Like a little plastic bag. But it's a ball shape. And it's filled with pain medicine. And it's got all these tubes that run out of the bag. And then it's got like a long needle, maybe 1.5 foot, 2 foot long needle. It's flexible. And Daryl said what they did while I was out is they rolled me on my side, and the needle had to enter through my back, and they have to work it to my ribs because that's what they wanted, where they wanted the pain relief to go. It's straight to my ribs. And he said he was watching them put the needle in my back, and at first it just slid in. And then they got to my ribs where it was all broken, and they were having problems because the needle was getting hung up on the broken bones. So they were having to like twist and screw the needle into me, and Daryl said he was like, man, I felt so bad for you, man, because it just looked like it was gonna hurt when you woke up in the morning. And so I had like a 2 foot long needle running from my back to my ribs, and like I said, they call that the pain ball. and it delivers pain medicine directly to the ribs. So that was helping me breathe a lot more too, and not whine and cry so much about my broken ribs. It was pretty wild though. And I still have my morphine drip. And at first I really didn't want to use it a lot, you know, because I don't know. It was kind of weird. But after you sit there in so much pain, you start seeing how much that damn thing's going to put out. And you press that button and you press that button. And it does alright at first, but the one thing is, like, I guess with any drug, is you build up a tolerance. And after the 2 weeks, it just, that dosage of morphine they were giving me was doing nothing. It did nothing anymore. I mean, just nothing. So after a while, it just seemed like I was in constant pain all the time. And you know, so be it. I was broken up pretty bad. But there was a lot of days I don't remember in ICU. And I remember the things I do remember. I remember when I had the tube in my throat, trying to communicate and writing little messages with my left hand to people so they could try to understand what I was saying. I was like, everything I wrote, no one would understand because it was with my left hand, and it would be like the complete opposite. I can remember trying to ask a nurse to get a wet rag and wipe my eyes because they were burning and they were tearing up too, you know, and and they were burning. And I'm restrained. When you got a tube in your throat, they restrain your hands, and that's something totally different. I mean, I was depressed for a whole day over that. I mean, I was just depressed over being restrained. That sucked. But anyways, my eyes were burning, and I'm trying to ask the nurse to get a wet rag to wipe my eyes. Well, she gets the wet rag part, but then she doesn't know where to wipe. She says, your mouth? I shake my head, no. She says, your nose? I shake my head, no. She says, your ears? No. Your head? No. Your neck? No. And it was like she said everything on my body except for my eyes. And I'm blinking my eyes at her like crazy, like, my eyes. And finally she got it. And I got my eyes wiped. They also had that tube down my throat for days, and they didn't do anything about my lips at all, and my lips were so chapped. Looked like alligator skin. It was pretty nasty. I was pulling sheets of skin off for days after the tube came out, it seemed like. It was pretty nasty. And I don't know, there's a bunch of x-rays and stuff. Every time they come in and x-ray me, it hurt like hell. Pretty much any time they would move me, they'd roll me over, no bed sores. I had these little things on my legs that would pump up, like the blood pressure things, keep my legs from getting blood clots in them. And then started the physical therapy of getting out of bed and sitting in a chair for a little while. That was my physical therapy. That was cool though, actually. The chair was actually a lot more comfortable than the bed. And I could sit in there and talk to people and stuff, and it was alright. But it was like, you had to move all these tubes and wires and stuff. It was like, it was a pain in the ass to get me out of bed. It took like 3 people to move everything. And ICU, man, it was a place they took care of me. That's where I kept my spirits up. That was where I got sponge baths too. That was pretty nice. Once I got out of ICU, they quit giving me sponge baths. I had to clean myself, and that was fun. Yeah, cleaning yourself is fun with broken bones. That's about it for the ICU. I moved to my private room after that, and they really don't give you a lot of attention there at all. I was left to myself a lot, and if you needed something when you were in your private room, you were gonna wait and wait and wait, and most of the time it'd be the next day before you could get whatever you asked for, and then you would hear the same thing every time. Oh, I forgot. And every day I was there, I put in a special order for my food, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You know, I would ask for something specific, and every time they messed it up. Every single time, 3 times a day for however many days. It was like 24 times or some shit. You know, they messed it up every single time, so I never got what I wanted. And it would get to the point where they would knock on the door, dietary, and I'd just say, send it back. I wouldn't even want to see what it was. Just send it back because I know it's wrong. And that would piss me off. I was getting real mad because I lost a lot of weight in the hospital. I lost a lot of weight. And like, I couldn't tell until I got home, and I noticed how skinny my legs were, because the only place that I am thick is in my legs, and they're not thick at all anymore, so that's how I knew I lost a lot of weight. But then, let's see, you know, I got off the morphine, and they started giving me Loratab 7.5s, and I was really happy about that, because I didn't want to do morphine anymore. It wasn't working anyways, and the pain pills were doing okay. But I could only get 2 every 6 hours, so it seemed like 2 would last for about 5 hours, and that final hour before I could finally get more, I was just like hurting severely. And I ended up getting to be pretty slick though. They would give me the 2 Loratabs, and I would pop them and swallow, and then I would save one though. I would manage to keep one of them and eat it later on, you know, like an hour or 2 later on, instead of eating them both at the same time. And they never caught on. They never caught on once I started doing that, and that was pretty slick, because they'd sit there and they'd watch me, but I was too good. And but that helped me get through the 6 hours. And then I remember it was like the day before well, they kept saying that I was probably going to be discharged either a Thursday or Friday. And it was Wednesday, and Daryl comes in, physical therapist, and he says, we're going to do a little walking today. I was like, alright. Oh, okay, I think I'm ready for that. So, we get out of bed. Daryl's standing on the side of me. Daryl's got a buddy, Vinny, that helps him out. Vinny and Daryl are cool, man. They were like the coolest guys there. We could bullshit about anything. Talked a lot about football. And so Vinny's carrying all my boxes of chest tube stuff, and my paintball, and all my accessories that go along with me, IV bag and stuff. And Daryl's standing in front, and he's got to keep an eye on my heart rate. And this is the first day I've tried to walk in a long time. And I remember thinking, you know, okay, just one foot in front of the other. Everybody knows how to walk. But it had been so long. It's been 2 weeks since I walked, and everything was like little drunk baby steps, you know, like just barely moving. I could barely pick my feet up. It was really weird not being able to walk. And we walked 225, 250 feet that day, and got back to the room. And when I got back in the bed, I just remember being completely exhausted. It was like I just ran a marathon. I couldn't believe it. And then they told me that I was going to be leaving the next day, which I believe was a Thursday I left. And they did the final chest x-ray on me to get the last tube out of my chest. They're pulling IVs, catheters out, everything. You know, I'm losing stuff left and right now. And after they pulled the final chest tube out, Daryl comes and gets me, and we go for a 500-foot walk, or what he says probably 520 or something. I don't know. It was a while. It was a ways. And we did that walk, and I remember just trying to talk and walk at the same time, and it was so hard. It was so hard to walk and talk. I mean, I'd run out of air quickly, and we'd have to stop for a second. And he'd check my heart rate, make sure everything was fine, and he was happy about that. And we did that at 500 feet or so, and I got back, and I remember all I wanted to do was sleep. I mean, that was hard work right there. I was still doing the little small drunk baby steps, and had no power in my legs. It felt like I was learning how to walk all over again. And things were progressing though. Things were getting better. I wasn't coughing up as much blood anymore. The ribs were feeling a little bit better. I got the paintball needle out of my back, and they let me go home. And I wasn't really sure if I was ready to go home yet, though, to be honest. I was still in a lot of pain. I didn't know how I was going to take care of myself. And luckily, surrounded by great people. I was on our way home. I had a group of friends here. They helped me get settled in. They brought me some canes and a gallon of iced tea. And they listened to my war stories and got me settled in. My mom went and picked up my pain meds. That weekend, Rose came and took care of me. And I was really lucky. I had good people taking care of me, helping me out. It was really nice. And then I made it home. And that's where I've been for almost a week now. So now I can walk. I've been to the store a couple of times. It wears me out. A lot of things wear me out. Talking wears me out. Walking to the mailbox will wear me out. Just one day at a time. I'm healing a little bit by little bit. And I'd just like to personally thank everybody for all their well wishes, their prayers. Somebody was burning a candle for me. Everything everybody did for me, You're responsible for me being here. And I love you for it. Really, I do. Thank you very much. And I can't wait to see you guys. Really. Because I'm getting sick of sitting in this house all the time. There's a bar stool somewhere missing my ass. No matter how skinny it is, it misses me. So, hopefully one day I'll see you all soon in person. We'll all get together. Go have a beer.